We of the United Delta are here to pay you a courtesy visit and to reassure you of our loyalty and determination to give every assistance to your government to see that we join in the task of rebuilding a brand new Nigeria. We approach your appointments and the style of the government, and we would like to say categorically that you are an action man. You have addressed the issue of the youth, which is a young person, young vibrant youth as minister. I still recall that I became governor before, and everybody thought, you know, we're all too young, but we were able to do our job. I'm sure that your action team will be able to deliver to our entire satisfaction. We would love to have our leader chief in us, but I'm sure that they are not in spirit. Your government has taken the bull by the horn, and we have no doubt that you will succeed. We are here to say, go ahead with confidence, never say die. And you can rest assured we, the federal base, the nation, will do everything to give you the will and support to see that your government succeeds, and not just succeed, but succeed in the highest score. Thank you very much again for giving us this audience. You have a good house. The kings, the senators, the youths, the women, we all here include numbers to give you our assurance and our support. Thank you very much. All we can say for now is God bless Nigeria, God bless the government.
We would like to begin by expressing our profound gratitude to His Excellency Tinubu, GCFR, for graciously granting us this audience. The significance of this invitation is not lost on us, and in recognition of its importance, we have temporarily set aside a period of mourning following the passing of our revered leader, Chief Dr. Edwin Clark, on the 17th of February, to be present with you today. Mr. President, as you may have observed, our delegation is substantial, comprising some of the most distinguished leaders from our region. Among us are esteemed traditional rulers, treaty kings, former governors, past and present members of the National Assembly, senior political office holders, academics, and other stakeholders. We must, however, convey the regrets of some of our leaders who, due to prior commitments, are unable to join us here today. These include the Oba of Benin, who is concluding the traditional burial rites of his late mother, the Oba of Calabar, the Olu of Warri, the Dane of Abo, and the Okuibom, the supreme ruler of the Ibibio people. They have specifically requested that we extend their warm regards and appreciation to you, Mr. President. Our presence in such numbers today also underscores the deep ties between the Niger Delta and your administration. Beyond the fact that you are our in-law, given that your dear wife, the First Lady, Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who plays a pivotal role in national development, is our daughter, we also acknowledge the inclusion of our son, Senator Godswill Akpabio, as Senate President. His emergence marks the first time in 45 years that a leader from our region has held this esteemed position since the tenure of our late Senator Joseph Wires. Furthermore, we are pleased that a number of our sons and daughters in your cabinet are being given the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to national governance. In particular, we are pleased and we commend you for putting in place a substantive board for the management of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, which is performing quite creditably. This is the same for the management of the Presidential Amnesty Program, PAP, whose effort is helping to sustain peace in the Niger Delta and for the broad benefit of the national economy. Mr. President, beyond extending our goodwill, we also wish to bring to your attention a number of pressing issues of great concern to our region and the nation at large. Please, we'd like to start with the issue of political crisis in Rivers State. Foremost among our concerns is the escalating political crisis in Rivers State, which poses a significant threat to national stability. Despite your fatherly efforts to mediate between the parties involved, the situation continued to deteriorate due to conflicting and contradictory court rulings. This protracted conflict is a matter of grave concern as Rivers State is a strategic economic hub, particularly in the oil and gas sector, which we all know is the backbone of our national revenue. Any instability there has far-reaching implications, not just for the South-South, but for the entire country. It is very commendable that the governor of the state has publicly expressed willingness to fully abide by the recent Supreme Court ruling, yet tensions are at the boiling point, and urgent intervention is needed to prevent a full-blown crisis. Let us also not forget that our region is still recovering from protracted years of crisis when the national economy equally suffered heavily. In light of this, Mr. President, we have proactively established a high-level Peace and Reconciliation Committee, chaired incidentally by me, Obon Victor Atta, with eminent members including former military governor of Kwara State, Colonel Pamoga, Senators Emmanuel Ibawasien, Roland Owe, and Stella Omu, former Bayelsa State Deputy Governor, Rear Admiral G. John Yona, retired, and retired Honorable Stella Dogo. We therefore urge you, Mr. President, to impress on all stakeholders, particularly the two personalities involved, the urgency and need for peace. They must prioritize peace. An amicable solution must be secured, and we know, Mr. President, that you are in a position to help us to achieve this quickly. Now, we talk about the South-South Development Commission. So I just should like to mention, as far as that committee is concerned, that we have made some progress, and we have obtained the governor's willingness to submit to a peace process, but we must emphasize the need for cooperation from the other side. Now, I talk about the South-South Development Commission. Your administration's commitment to the devolution of power and regional development is commendable, as reflected in the establishment of development commissions for various regions. However, we are deeply concerned that the South-South Development Commission bill, which was duly passed by the National Assembly, has yet to receive your presidential assent. It is important to clarify that the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, is distinct from the proposed South-South Development Commission. The NDDC was specifically designed with a dedicated funding mechanism to address issues related to the oil and gas industry, which extends beyond the geographic boundaries of the Niger Delta. The NDDC as a body is similar to HYPADEC, the Hydroelectric Power Producing Area Development Commission, which was also established to cater for the peculiar environmental and social needs of parts of the country which produce hydropower. In the current dispensation, where regional development bodies have been established, HYPADEC continues to exist to cater for the specific needs that informed its establishment. So, in the same way in which HYPADEC is still allowed to function side by side these other regional bodies, the NDDC, whose mandate is also specific for all oil-producing states, must be allowed to function as a special purpose vehicle to address the problems which would continue to be created by oil and gas production. The gap which the NDDC has been filling and will continue to fill in ensuring the stability flow of resources from the oil and gas area resources and to help our national economy is totally outside the mandate of the development commissions. We therefore implore and submit to Mr. President that the NDDC be retained for all oil-producing states and could, if you wish, be renamed, which in fact was its former name, OMPADEC, which stands for Oil Mineral Producing Area Development Commission. The South-South Development Commission should be timely signed into law to drive holistic development under the Ministry of Regional Development, as is the case with the other 5 regions. Need to revisit Bakassi dilemma. There is a big dilemma in Bakassi. Mr. President, the 2002 International Court of Justice judgment on Bakassi Peninsula and the Green Tree Agreement have left an indelible mark on Nigeria's history. The aftermath of these developments continue to have a devastating impact on the communities affected by it, displacing thousands of Nigerians and denying them access to their ancestral lands, livelihoods, and basic amenities. Furthermore, these communities face the looming threat of cultural genocide. We do not wish to dwell on past mistakes, but rather we urge the need to revisit this matter with a view to mitigating the impact on the affected communities and the fortunes of Cross River State as a whole. With your permission, Mr. President, we'd like to also look at this rising spate of insecurity in the South-South. We commend your administration's effort to curb insecurity across the nation. However, we must draw attention to the alarming increase in kidnappings, violent attacks, and the activities of so-called unknown gunmen in our region. There is growing concern that as security operations intensify in other parts of the country, criminal elements are migrating southward, leading to unprecedented levels of violence in our communities. Similarly, there is a rising upsurge in the incidence of sea piracy around our coastal communities. And you know, most of us are littoral states. If left unchecked, these could force local populations to resort to self-help, a situation which we must collectively work to prevent. We therefore call for enhanced security measures, including improved intelligence gathering and stronger enforcement efforts to ensure the safety and stability of our region. We urge that the proposed Coast Guard, which draws personnel mostly from the littoral states, be established forthwith. Your Excellency, there is this issue of critical infrastructure deficit in the South-South, which we must talk about. Despite our region's significant contributions to national revenue, the Niger Delta remains plagued by severe infrastructure deficits. A review of the 2025 budget reveals disproportionately low allocations for critical infrastructure projects in our region compared to others. The state of our road networks, including the East-West Road, Benin-Auchi Road, Benin-Warri, and Calabar-Uyo-Ikorekpene Road is deplorable. Additionally, the near total dysfunction of our seaports is a major economic setback, given that the Niger Delta occupies the largest portion of Nigeria's coastline. At a time when the global focus is shifting towards blue economy, leveraging our maritime potential could position Nigeria as a regional economic powerhouse. We therefore urge the federal government to prioritize infrastructural investments in the South-South. In particular, we endorse the demand for the new seaports in Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Edo states, among others, which have all been on the front burner for quite a while. As a necessary game changer, these could function as necessary game changers and help the growth of our national maritime industry. There is the issue of the increasing oil production and need for greater participation of the Niger Delta in the oil and gas sector. We acknowledge the federal government's commitment to optimizing the benefits of the Niger Delta oil and gas resources for national economic growth. As leaders of the oil-producing communities, we assure you, Mr. President, of our continued cooperation in sustaining and enhancing oil production. We will work closely with relevant authorities to ensure that production levels remain stable and that host communities benefit equitably. We realize that one of the most vexed issues with regards to the oil industry is the question of oil thefts and illegal bunkering. We, as community leaders, have continued to work with the security agencies and other bodies designated by the government to bring this to the barest minimum. However, we again bring up the earlier decision of the federal government under former President Muhammadu Buhari to make funds available under the Local Content Board to provide counterpart funding for development of modular or other forms of local refineries around the South-South, where the oil is produced. This certainly will produce economic corridors all around, create jobs, and improve the means of livelihood of people in the area. This, we think, is a major step towards curbing the incidences of illegal refining activities, pipeline vandalism, and pollution of the environment. We believe this will be a major achievement of your government if followed through. We also request, Mr. President, to ensure that top management positions in the oil and gas industry, including chief executives in various parastatals and even the NNPC, are managed by some of our sons and daughters, many of whom have cognate qualifications. Closely related to this is the question of the gas flare penalty fund, for which there is need for presidential directive towards the setting up of an implementation committee to ensure its release and utilization. Environmental remediation. We reiterate the urgent need for continued environmental remediation across the Niger Delta, which has suffered decades of degradation due to oil exploration. While we recognize the ongoing organic cleanup efforts, this represents only a tiny fraction of the broader environmental challenges facing the region. We advocate for a phased remediation and cleanup program targeting the most impacted communities with plans to scaling up over time. Finally, Your Excellency, we come to one of your pet subjects. And I call it your pet subject because I know we discussed this a lot while we were governors together. And that is the issue of fiscal federalism, otherwise known as restructuring. This address would not be complete without reference to the burning national question of how to return Nigeria to the practice of fiscal federalism, especially in the light of the fatal flaws in the 1999 Constitution. This is not alien to you, Your Excellency, as you have on several occasions been a strong advocate of all the reforms. This one reform which we strongly believe will propel Nigeria into the path of rapid, harmonious, and holistic development. In conclusion, Mr. President, we reaffirm our unwavering support for your administration's renewed hope agenda and its initiatives aimed at national development. We believe the engagement marks a new chapter in the relationship between the South-South, and this engagement marks a new chapter in the relationship between the South-South and your government. You can count on us, we assure you, Mr. President, and count on our full cooperation in realizing a shared vision for prosperity, stability, and progress. As a follow-up to this filing, we want to recommend that we meet with you regularly and exchange ideas due to the critical role which our region plays in the national economy and stabilizing our democracy. It is our belief that this would be quite beneficial to your administration. In this respect, we have the pleasure to invite you to come to any of the states in the Niger Delta in your next session of interaction with our people, so that you will actually be on site to see some of the things that we're telling you about. Your success will be our collective success, and we stand ready to work alongside you to ensure a better future for the people of our nation, of course, starting with our region. Thank you, Your Excellency. Please.
Thank you very much. As a good leader, as a compatriot, as elder statesman for leading this delegation. I recognize my friend, colleague, Victor Obong Atta, for his selfless service to this country and his commitment to development of the whole nation. Thank you for leading a peace delegation. All the time you are called upon to do some great things for this country. You will never look back. Thank you very much for what you have been doing. To all the leaders here present, including Mama Bakassi, you are very welcome. Our leaders, traditional rulers, youth leaders, our Niger Delta Forum, well, I'm here by the grace of God, appreciating your support, your prayers, and your concerns. I cannot complain, because I campaign, dance, sing, and beg for this job. So I must do it with all my heart, whatever it takes, and make sure that we achieve our promises and our goals. Nigeria is extremely an important country. To some members of cabinet here, from outside looking in, from inside looking out, we have been doing our best to give Nigeria a rebirth, a reset, a recalibration of the economic opportunities that is abound in this country. Yes, Niger Delta is the goose that lays the golden egg. But don't kill the goose. Otherwise, it means the golden egg permanently. And you'll be in ruins. I got your signal. And I got your concern, particularly concerning Rivers State. I've been on it for quite some time. I've moved on it before now. I foresee this crisis festering for too long before I entered into it. We reached an agreement, written agreement. Both parties signed. Some leaders thought the governor of Rivers State was wrong to have signed, but he didn't implement. Where do we find ourselves today? So this is a nation of rule of law. I should not be here as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria if there's no rule of law. I have total confidence in our judiciary. Expectations. Human beings can make errors. But when we say Supreme Court is spoken, that's it. Please go back home and help him implement those recommendations within the shortest possible time. I put the ball back in your court. Help him. Was privately, openly, I have intervened, counseled the governor. Only yesterday I told him again, pursue the path of peace. And stood to conquer and not become perishable. I've seen what all of you have tolerated and been doing. Community development is a matter very close to my heart. I have some of you doing very well in terms of Niger Delta. Oboku, the MD of NDDC, is doing a good job. Encourage him. To achieve more. And you mentioned the Senate. I'm proud and very happy that I am with the Senate President. He's a good man. and is competent and deserves the leadership of the most important arms of government. He's your son. We are all proud of him. Yes. There are a lot of there's misadventurers around Nigeria and the world of twist of turn of democracy. We'll continue to work on preserving the integrity and the character of our people, of our legislature. I sincerely thank you for bringing up those issues critically. I thank you for being what you are for this country. The heart, the conscience of us is trying to focus on the right path. We must do that and do that diligently. Nigeria is just too big than any one of us. It's too great. And that greatness must come from us. Determination, perseverance, everything that we can do to make it better. I'm saying that we cannot achieve El Dorado in one day, but we are on the path to it. We will be there by the grace of God Almighty. We are resetting the economy. It's looking far better now. There's fund for our children in the university. Our medical colleges are being well equipped. Yes, there's infrastructure deficits in some areas. Yes, we will do it. We are setting our priority right. Send someone to look at what is going on the coastal road. That is a huge economy and the opportunity associated with it. Yes, we are working with the international reputable companies to make Uyo Port, Calabar Port, and other South ports a reality. We are planning on economic opportunity in those areas, specifically, to be able to build things. We are brilliant people. We can do things. We can manufacture things. Let us not look at the past waste. Just learn lessons from it. But get forward with this country, with our youthful population. We can achieve the greatest thing in Africa. We are here to do that. Thank you, leaders. Thank you for being my in-law. I'm taking care of your daughter. Whatever remains in these memos that you've submitted, I'll take a look at it. We will meet more regularly. Well, go back home and take charge of peace. And if you need me, let me know. I've given this situation enough time, enough thinking, enough consideration. We cannot falter. We will not. People of Rivers State must not suffer for the democracy that we all put together. They will not. They must be protected. I'm sure you will do better